this thing working right? Yes, yes. Hey, we're back. Welcome back to WEGS Garage. Today on the program, we're in the annex. We're in the secret laboratory. And we're going to be working on this. The tachometer, which, if you remember right, was having a lot of issues with bouncing around and acting crazy. We replaced the cable and lubricated everything and did all that easy stuff. But still, we're having issues with this tachometer. Now, most people, I think, just send this off to a place to be rebuilt or they buy a new one. And that's definitely an option. But before we do that, I figure I got nothing to lose. We're going to open this up, and from what I understand, there's some sort of magnet thing going on in here, and sometimes I can get dirty, and I think we might be able to fix it. You're just going to have to take apart this beautiful tech and hopefully not break anything. I don't know. Let's try it. Stay tuned. Alright, so I think this is probably about a 1 beer job. I don't know. I hope so. We'll see. The first thing we gotta do is get the glass cover off of here. It looks like all I gotta do is kind of twist the bezel off the front of this thing and it'll come right off. And then we'll take it from there. Okay, now to release the front, the mechanism and all that stuff from this case that it's in, we're gonna unscrew these 2 screws on the back here and this whole thing should come out. Okay, and there you have the actual internals of the tach. There's some kind of goop all over this, but I think the part we're concerned with is a little bit deeper in here, so we're gonna have to keep going. Okay, so now we just need to carefully pry this pointer off. Well, I don't know if that's careful, but it's off. And then there are 2 tiny little screws on either side of there that we're gonna have to take off to get the faceplate off. Okay, be very careful not to lose those screws because they are the smallest screws I've ever seen in my life, and I used to work on model trains, so I would know. So just to give you an idea how this works, the output from the engine for the speed, in other words, the tach cable goes into this end right here. There's a little shaft that comes through here, and it spins this little piece back here, which is magnetic. And then there's a little cup under here that is attached to the output over here. And that's what turns your tachometer. There's a spring thing there. Can't tell if that's in very good condition or not. But I can definitely hear when I turn this little cup. It's almost like the cup and the magnet are kind of catching on each other, and the sound is very reminiscent of the sounds we were hearing when this thing was operating. So I don't know if there's a bushing or something in here that's out of alignment, but I think I'm gonna take these screws out here and pull the whole thing apart so I'll have the input and the output sort of separated from each other. Alright, so I have cleaned up this assembly quite a bit. Now there were two things I thought could have been wrong with this. One was, of course, the cup being kind of dirty and catching. That looks pretty clean. I'll obviously give it the once over to get it clean. The other thing I thought could have been is that I thought there was a bushing between the spindle of this sort of drive mechanism and the body of the drive mechanism, and it really doesn't seem like it. So I don't know if perhaps on later cars, on TR6s for example, if that bushing was added, but this particular model does not have the bushing. So I don't know. Seems like a little bit of a dead end. What I am going to do is clean everything up really good, re-lubricate everything, and put it back together. And then we'll just see, I guess, if that fixes it. If not, we'll probably have to get a different tack or a new tack or whatever. But for now, that's where I'm going to leave it. So yeah, we'll get this cleaned up the rest of the way, put it back together, and then we'll try it out. Okay, so I have the mechanical mechanism together again. Got a drill here on reverse, and I'm gonna see if we fix the problem. So I'm just gonna put the drill in there. We're gonna turn it. Okay, so here's the thing. I can still hear the magnet contacting the disc every now and then, but I can see from watching the disc that it's not really bouncing or anything. So I don't know, I think it might be okay. I'm gonna try it, obviously, again, this last resort, so I'm gonna see what it does, and then if that doesn't work, we'll just get a new one, but it's worth a shot here. The only other thing I'm gonna do here real quick before I put it together is I'm gonna just throw this cup in some Evapo-Rust to get this thing cleaned up, because it's really rusty. This little O-ring, I know we've got some replacements back at the real WEGS Garage, so we'll replace that, and then I might spray a little fresh white paint in here as well, and then I'll put it all back together and we'll see if it works. Alright, so just popping in here, my first attempt to assemble this was not successful, and that's because clearly there was some kind of rubber gasket or something going on the backside of the cup, and then where the bolts go through too, but because it was all in such terrible shape, I couldn't really tell what needed to be there. Once I started to put it together, it became obvious the screws are a little bit too long to hold to sandwich everything tight inside here without some sort of gasket. So as far as I could tell, these are not available anywhere. I found some pictures online, and roughly this is kind of the shape of the gasket that goes on the inside. I used a bit of this, like, it's a foam rubber sheet. It's maybe a little over 1/16 of an inch thick, and cut it out of that. And then that'll just go down in the bottom of the cup like that. And then where these little bushings go through on the backside where the bolts come in, those also appeared to have some kind of rubber around them. So I just went to the hardware store and got some neoprene rubber washers that I will put between there and the back of the cup. So that'll just look like that. Your bolt will go in here, and all of that goes into the backside of this assembly and holds everything tight. In addition to that, here on the bezel and the lens glass, I believe there was some kind of, oh boy, see if I can break that. There was some kind of rubber inside here to like put a little padding between the glass and this bezel. And for that, I actually found some window screen cord that is about 1/8 of an inch thick, and we'll just lay that down inside here, cut to length like so, and then your glass goes on top of that, and then all that gets sandwiched together by this piece, and then all that of course goes on the cup, so that'll give you a nice tight glass so it won't rattle. So now that I got all that figured out, I think we are actually ready to finish putting this thing together. Okay, so now this is probably like my third attempt at putting this together, and it's still not quite right. I think that what's going on is the gasket that I put between the body and the mechanism back on the inside here is too thick, and now it's actually causing the needle to hit the glass. So I get to take it apart again and then find a thinner gasket material to put behind there, and then put it together again. But hey, let's maybe skip ahead so I can spare you the details here. Here we go. Quick test drive. Fires right up. So much for that tachometer fix.